as being an area that no one would invest in unless property tax dollars were given to those people as an incentive. And that's how they get away with it, see? They take for 30 years, they take your property tax dollars, they indebt themselves to bond brokers. And that's where it's at. The bond brokers take your tax money. They have indebted your city, so your city's going to sink under this huge burden of debt unless people build these huge developments, and then it generates supposedly more tax dollars. But now there is no desire for it, no demand for it, and that's why your money is getting pounded down that drain to develop all that bankrupt retail and many stories of residential that's sitting there vacant now in the middle of most cities in the entire U.S.
And of course, we have to go down and speak out at our city council, but you get into detail in the book about the Delphi technique.
That's right.
And how it's used. Could you speak about that a little bit?
Absolutely, because you know what? Hey, you didn't just wake up and find out that you live in a dictatorship. Your government does not want you to be aware of what's going on. I know this is not news to you. So what they do, what your government has done is hired consultants that are experts in this technique, which was developed by the Rand Corporation in the 1960s. It's called the Delphi technique, and it's used to bring groups of people to what gives them the illusion that they have input and that they're being listened to, but it brings them to a predetermined outcome that was going to be decided that way no matter what they said. So this is when you get invited to a visioning meeting or a workshop or a charrette, and you're invited to this meeting. You go on down there. You think you're really having some input, but really you're not. And this is designed to direct large groups of people to a predetermined outcome so that you think you're influencing your government. And so when your tax dollars are being used, when your zoning in your town is being changed to develop this desired building style for the New World Order, which is smart growth, you think you have an input on that, but really you don't. You're being told it's your plan, but in fact it is not. And yes, it's up to you to go down there to your city council, to your planning department, to those meetings, and you stand up and you tell them this is not your plan. We're doing it all over the United States and all over the world because the plan is the same no matter where you are in the world. New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the UK, United States, it's all the same plan.
And your book gets into your fight, your own personal fight.
Yeah, well, we sued to stop a huge redevelopment project, and we sued it. I raised about $500,000. It was a huge project. We stopped it for 3 years. We did lose, but we went on appeal. We lost again, but we managed to stop that project until the economy collapsed, and they were not able to build all of that smart growth and steal our property tax dollars for 30 to 45 years in my city. And you can do it too. I really encourage people to get my book or go on our website, DemocratsAgainstUNAgenda21.com, and check it out.
Well, the UN has been a focus of our show tonight, and it is a many-tentacled octopus. Are there other aspects about the UN that you've discovered from your own research on Agenda 21? Its global tentacles as far as well, earlier we were speaking about the War Powers Resolution and how the UN has pretty much claimed the American military as their own to do their dirty work. Is there anything else in your research that you've discovered about the UN that's outside of Agenda 21?
Well, you know, it's not what is United Nations Agenda 21, it's what isn't. And you are going to look long and hard to find something that isn't, because this is a global plan and it's implemented locally, but it is a plan for inventory and control of all aspects of the world, all aspects of land, water, and human plants, animals, everything that you impact and that impacts you is being monitored, controlled, and inventoried. So when you see, for instance, in your town, a regional meeting, or when you see a bike boulevard, or when you see that your neighborhood association is not going to let you run for neighborhood president unless you've been vetted by the board first. Amazingly enough, this is all United Nations Agenda 21, Sustainable Development. And it's in your universities, it's in your planning departments, it's all over your government. And that's why you have to get sharp at identifying it, because it's not called Agenda 21. And in fact, the American Planning Association has published documents, and they had a communications boot camp for planners to teach them how to deal with us, because we are waking up and getting active. And this is worldwide. People are recognizing that UN Agenda 21 comes under many different names, and that you have to, get sharp and identify it and fight it where you are. Fight it locally.
Well, I'm sure we have plenty of Delphi meetings going on here in Austin. We've got plenty of growth, of smart growth going on in the center of our town. How would somebody like me go about infiltrating? Let's say I have other members here, and of course there's going to be one person who's going to represent the Delphi technique. Do I go in there and would it be a good strategy to go in there and just openly say, I am here, I'm against you, I know this is Agenda 21, or is there another technique that our listeners could use?
Well, I believe it's a big tent and there's room for everybody, and however you get to it is great. But in my book, I do describe how to anti-Delphi a meeting. And these are very tightly regulated meetings where the facilitator has been trained in the Delphi technique, and basically they don't allow dissent. That's the most important thing to know about communitarianism. It gives the illusion of buy-in by the community, but there's no allowing for dissent, and that's you. You are the dissenters. You're the resistance. So when you go into those meetings, I've got this in the back of my book. There's 20 pages on what you can do in this book. So when you go to the back of the book, it's in there. It says basically what you do, go into the meeting with your group, however many people you have. You've met in advance. You understand the purpose of the meeting and why you are there. It may be a regional plan meeting, whatever. You go in there, you don't identify yourself with your real name. You don't identify the people you're with. You never acknowledge that you are together. You don't speak to each other while you're in that meeting. You are there to stop that meeting and to reveal that it is not your idea. It's not your plan. So there's a way to do it. You go in, there's a series of questions that you ask. There's a way to reveal that it is not your plan. You move into that meeting and you sit with all of the different tables, or you sit around that auditorium. You don't identify yourself as being with the group that you're with, and you ask questions. You say, excuse me, but it doesn't look to me like this plan is something that we have a chance to really have an impression on. Why is it that your timeline shows the adoption of this plan, even though you're saying that I have some input? Is there any way to stop this plan? That's a fabulous question to ask, because it completely stops the entire meeting right there. When you say, is there anything that we can do to stop this plan? Because the truth is there is not. And so you're told that the way you live now is business as usual, and that's no good, that you have to take a planned future, that's the choice that you're supposed to pick. And if you want clean air and water and you want jobs, then you're going to have to go along to get along with their plan. So I show you how to stop those meetings, how to reveal that they are not your plan, and mainly what you're doing, you're not waking up the facilitator. They're never going to move. They're not going to change their minds. It's the audience that you're reaching, your fellow citizens. That's who you're talking to.
Yep, and there's plenty of us. There's plenty of us.
It's true.
There's over 300 million of us, and there's only a few of them. So in closing, Rosen, I want to thank you again for joining us. Is there anything that you want to add to the future of Agenda 21? What can we see in the next, by the end of 2012? Is there anything that you can forecast that we may be seeing here very soon?
Well, what I'm really hoping to see is a worldwide movement of people just like ourselves who are going to get up and say, absolutely not. We will not stand for this. This is not the way free people live. We will not be Delphied. We will not be moved like this. We will not go along to get along. We will shut this down. We will speak out together. We will stop it. If we don't do it, you have an opportunity now. There's a window of opportunity now. We need to work together. It's not a left-right thing. Don't be misled by that. It's not Republican, Democrat, or left-right. Join together. Fight this together. This is something we can win, but we have to speak out and we must get active, all of us, right now, together.
Well, thank you, Rosa, for your fight for liberty, and thanks for joining us again, and we will talk to you very soon.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for the nightly news. Again, we want to thank Rosa Koire for joining us and tending to those brush fires in the minds of many men and women in this country. This book is available at Infowars.com, at the store at Infowars.com. Pick one up, pass it around, pick another one up, pass it around, and the name of the book is Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21, an excellent read, a quick read, and that's going to do it. Thank you for joining us here on Infowars Nightly News. I want to thank Alex Jones for being the man that he is and giving me the opportunity tonight to host the news. And we will see you again, Lord willing, on Monday. Have a good evening.